Okay, I promised to explain the split sleeper berth. So let's just get the math down first. I've made a simple graph up here showing 0 to 24 hours, 2400 hours, so a full day, okay? Now, there's a couple things you need to know about the split sleeper berth right off the bat. The first portion of it has to have 8 straight, uninterrupted hours in the sleeper berth. 8 straight. The second has to have at least 2 hours off-duty time. That could be a combo of off-duty or sleeper, all off-duty, whatever you want here. But this one has to be all in the sleeper berth for 8 straight hours. Okay, so in the normal sense of your hours of service, you have 11 and 14. Well, you're breaking this up and using only portions of your 11, 14. The 8-hour split sleeper berth here can extend your 14 hours since it actually stops the clock and extends it out for 8 hours. Okay? All right, and I'll show you how this actually works. Let's just get the math down, and we're not going to use any PTIs or any of that crap right now. We're just going to get the math down. So, from midnight until this point, we have driven 5 hours and we have worked 5 hours. So we go into our sleeper berth. How much time will we have to drive and work after that's over? Well, we're not going to get our 11 and 14 back because we didn't take a full 10. So here's how it works. Since we drove 5 and we worked 5, okay, we just take that away from the 11 and 14 that were available to us. So 11 minus 5 is 6. And on our work side, 14 minus 5 is 9. Because we worked 5 hours between point A and point B, and we drove 5 hours. Remember, just keep things simple. So because now we've done the math on that, we now have 6 hours to drive and 9 hours to work when we come from out of the sleeper berth. So let's just say we drove 6 hours and worked 6 hours, didn't take any breaks. So we've used up one portion of it there, see? That's as far as we can go, 6 hours, that was available to us. And now we have to take our 2-hour break because 2 and 8 make 10, right? Okay, minimum of 2 hours. Now how much will we get back at the other side of this? How much will we have to drive? Well, now we have a different set of math. We still have our 11 and 14 to work off of because we only used a portion of it. 6 hours worked and 6 hours drove. We have to minus that out. So let's just start with the driving. 11 minus the 6 hours we drove equals 5 hours left over, right? Good. Now here's the tricky part. The 14, we said we worked 6 there from point A to when we entered our off-duty time. 14 minus 6. But here's what happens. This 2 hours does not stop the clock, so must be included in our work time. So it's going to be 14 minus 6 minus 2 equals 6. So now when we come out of our 2 hours off-duty time, we have 5 hours to drive and we have 6 hours to work. And it goes on and on and on, right? Okay, we'll stop right here and we're going to go on to a more elaborate graph, a more realistic graph. And why does the sleeper berth actually work for you? How can you make it work for you? Well, it's a better management of your time. It helps you to do things more realistically, all right? So let's just take a winter scenario where it's snowing at night, nobody likes to drive at night, and the whole 9 yards. So here we have midnight again, right? And we were in the sleeper berth and we got up, and at 14:45 in the afternoon we decided to go on duty. So we went on duty and did our PTI for 0.25 of an hour. That means we left at 1500. We drive 2 hours to get to our pickup point where we do a drop and hook, and that supposedly takes us an hour. So 15 plus 2 equals 1700, an hour to do it. We leave at 1800. We drive for 4 more hours. It's now 2200 hours at night. It's dark, it's cold, it's raining and sleeting and snowing and nasty outside. Screw it. Let's go and wait till the sun comes up. So we go straight to bed. Find a place to park and go to bed for 8 straight hours. When we get up at 6 o'clock, what do we have available right here to drive and to work? Well, let's do the math. Here we said we drove 6 hours, 2 and 4, right? So in part A, 11 minus 6, 2 and 4 makes 6, equals 5. So now when we come out on this side, we'll have 5 hours to drive. But how much will we have to work? Well, you have to add up from the time you came on duty to the time you hit the sleeper berth. So that comes up to a total of 7 hours and 25.25. 7 hours, 0.25. So 14 minus 7.25 equals 675. Remember, all the work from this point, from the time you came on duty to the time you entered the sleeper berth, counts as all the time you've been on work. How much the clock has run. All right. So we did our math, and we found out when we come out of our 8-hour sleeper berth, we're going to have 5 hours to drive and 6.75 hours to work. So let's just do that. So let's just say we're hustling, and we get up and we leave and we just drive 5 hours and we work 5 hours from point A to point B when we got to take our next 2-hour break. All right? So now remember, this does not stop the clock, so must be included in all work time. So what time is it now? It's 11 o'clock. Hey, it's time for lunch. All right, let's take a nice 2-hour leisurely lunch and then come back out. So when we come back out, how much time do we have? Well, here we got to go back down. So we did, of our 11 now, we drove the 5. That's going to leave us 6 hours left over. Of the 14, we worked the 5, and then we also have to take away the time we spent off duty, 2 hours, right? So that's actually 14 minus 7 equals 7. So now when we come out, we have 6 hours to drive and 7 hours to work. All right, so let us say we go again. Okay, so we're starting now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We drive for 3 hours. We get to some place where we have to deliver. We spend an hour on duty delivering. Then we drive 3 more hours. We've used up our 6 hours of driving and our 7 hours of work time. So now we mandatorily have to get off duty. We're out. Well, look what time it is. Well, 3, 6, 7 hours, 1300 plus 7, that's 2000, that's 8 o'clock at night. Perfect. So now we can pull into a truck stop and we can make our decision. Are we going to stay here for straight 8 and get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and run? Or are we just going to take a 10-hour break and get our 11 and 14 back? Generally, that's what I do. I just take the 10-hour break and get the 11 and 14 back when I can. But you can see how this will work out for you. All right? Let us say 14:45, 2 o'clock, midnight, right? Midnight would be the end of your 14. You'd have to wait 10 hours. Your midnight would run right here, right? Midnight 45, right? 14 hours. But because it stops the clock, if your delivery was at say 7 o'clock in the morning, you couldn't make it if you took a 10-hour break. If you went here and didn't take this split, took a 10, you might be screwed. So sometimes it can actually help you get there on time. All right? It's not going to get you there any earlier, but sometimes it helps you manage your time better, and you can just kind of figure it out as you go along. But remember, there's 2 sections. There's the A section before the 8-hour and the B section after the 8-hour, which includes off-duty time as work time. Okay? I hope that helps.